Hi, I'm MJ from Lioness Publications. And tonight we're going to be looking at Trump's daily for the 28th of September, which is tomorrow, and it's a Sunday. We've got quite a few angles to cover. We've got one major angle that has actually already been happening. I wasn't sure if I was going to cover it just because of the nuances with it. And we've got a minor angle, and then we've got quite a few moon angles. So it's going to be a little bit longer session than normal. I try and keep these as short as possible, but this is going to be a little longer. So let's start. First thing we have is the Wounded Warrior is going to be square Venus. Now, in this case, this is a major angle. It has been going on for a while. Tomorrow is when it's actually exact, but it can be actually, you can feel the effects up to a week, 2 weeks before and after. So that's what makes it a major angle. But it usually comes to some type of culmination point, sort of right around the time it's exact. So what does this mean? Well, it's wounds, and the other part is, in effect, it's a square, so it's a difficult angle. And Venus is what? His community. In effect, his voters could be people. And this is indicating that he's bringing wounds to them. Now, it could be that he's trying to heal the wounds, but we need to look at what he's doing, and that's not what's happening. So this is really one of the impetus behind his going after his enemies. So this is where he wants to get them to hurt. It's unfortunate. Now, this can also lead to breakdown in diplomatic relationships. And something like that is already happening with South Korea. They had some type of trade deal, but now Trump sort of rewrote it. And he's saying that they're supposed to give the United States a big, deposit on all this. And South Korea is saying, no, we can't do that. We don't have that much money. So that's causing a little bit of, backlash in diplomatic channels, because this was one of the, few countries that thought they had already established, fix the tariff thing. So that's not so great. Now, another thing with this is that since it is against Venus, which is sort of his people, he may feel that his external validation, meaning his approval from people, is slipping away. And that is sort of happening. So it's not really quite there. There's a lot he's doing that even MAGA people are sort of saying, why is he doing that? So there's a lot to unpack just with that one angle. But I'll leave it that it's in effect the wounds, and he's actually pushing wounds onto people. And it doesn't necessarily mean that they're not MAGA, or that they are MAGA, or that they're left groups, but he's pushing pain. The next one we have is Sun conjunct Neptune. This is a minor angle, meaning that the sun is involved, so it's a minor planet. So it is in effect for a few days, maybe, 3 days or so. And in this case, it could be that he is going to be just such a visionary with what he comes out and says, or he could be very deceitful. And I'm not hearing anything that's visionary. In fact, what I'm hearing is a lot of stuff that is not true. So this is something that is also, it's a major piece that's playing in right now. He's on, for narratives, he's actually, just ignoring truths and making up his own truths. One of the problems with this is sometimes, since it is Neptune, someone may decide to bring up religious themes to sort of inspire support. Now, those are the two, the major and the minor. The rest are the moon angles. And they're pretty much some of, there's inconjuncts, and there's some oppositions, there's conjunctions here. Trines. And so we'll talk about each one of these. We've got Moon opposing Uranus. Okay. So he's going to be disruptive. Moon is in effect emotions, and what's happening is things are changing. So things might change without him changing it or him changing it. So in effect, he's going to have erratic behavior. In public, he's going to be very volatile. You're not sure what he's going to say. He's going to be into disruption. So if something is planned, he's probably going to want not to do that. Now, this may seem like he thinks he might have a connection with people, but he really doesn't. The Uranus means that things are changing. He doesn't have that connection. Unfortunately, anything that he's expected to do something, he's not going to want to do that. So he's just going to go the opposite way. And this happens, this type of angle happens to everyone in their charts. They react to it differently. Trump tends to be very volatile anyway, so this is going to make it more obvious. The next one we have is Moon conjuncting the South Node and opposing the North Node. This one is difficult in that he reverts to his old habits. Rather than trying to move ahead in the path that, in effect, fate or karma has set up for him, he's resorting to the old habits. And these are, he's making decisions based on that. And this is not going to fix what the current issues are. So he's just going backwards, sort of like Make America Great Again. So it's that again thing. He's going back in the past. Now, he's avoiding the truth with this. And also, he may feel that he's attuned to the public, but he's not. So this is an issue here. But the next one actually might clarify this a little bit more. Next one is Moon conjunct Moon. In this case, he is actually going to be attuned to what the public is thinking. And you're saying, well, how can that be? Remember, the moon is only for a few hours with each of these angles. So maybe plus minus 2 hours. So we have one going away and then another one coming in. So he feels like he is attuned, but he's not really. And then he moves into a position, that he is attuned. So maybe that he talks to someone. Maybe something is brought up for him. So he gets a little bit better feel for this. So in effect, this is where he might start emphasizing unity and things like the homeland identity. It could be something that comes up with ice in conversations, but we'll have to see. Next one we have is Moon opposing Sun. Confrontations. So these are emotional confrontations. In effect, people are probably going to be criticizing him or somehow confronting him, and he's going to react. So this is going to, be shown in his public image. It's not going to be good when this happens. So this is also going to be a disconnect between what he thinks the public wants and what the public actually wants. Now, this one could also culminate in some type of policy decision or maybe a revelation about the administration, maybe some type of resignation. So this could be sort of like a flashpoint, not major, and, might miss it if, it's not something that's out in the open. Next one we have is Moon in conjunct midheaven. Again, midheaven is your status. It's your standing in the world. Moon is emotional. Ink means we can't get there. So in effect, anything he has to do that is in a status, standing type of role, he's not going to be able to do that well because what? The moon. His personal needs are, in effect, conflicting with the needs of his role. And this is, like I said, it's plus or minus 2 hours. It's not all day. I mean, everyone will be having this at some point in their month. This type of, actually, you have it twice in a month. But in most cases, some people might be able to hide it from being evident. He may not be able to hide that. The next one we have is Moon in conjunct Venus. Like we didn't have the other, the Wounded Warrior, going after Venus. Now we have Moon in conjunct. So Moon emotions can't get there, so he can't relate to his people. So in this case, his responses are going to be out of synchronization. with what is needed at that time. The delivery is going to be off. The feelings are not going to be there. Awkward interactions. He's going to have backlash from people. So again, if he's with reporters may say, like, for example, what about farmers that are committing suicide? And he'll change the subject to something else, or he'll say something inappropriate. Sort of like, well, the tariffs will pay for, when the tariffs are causing this. Lastly, yes, we got to the last one, finally. We've got Moon trying Mars. So he does have a good angle here that he can use. So this can make him decisive. And again, decisive in that he can be, have options laid out and he can make a decision as to which way to go. He can act quickly and he can feel comfortable with his decisions. So he feels comfortable at this point in the day. Now, it is a decisive. So whatever, he gets put in front of him, he will make decisions. So if something sensitive gets put in front of him, maybe we don't want that type of decision to be made decisively. I hope you enjoyed this and have a great day. Bye now.